We've already learned about some of Buddha's teachings. Now, let us learn some more of his teachings. As we've already seen the importance of the cycle of rebirth that is there in Buddhism, we have understood that by following the Eightfold Path, one is free from the cycle of rebirths. Now the concept of nirvana comes in. So what is this concept? Let's find out. Firstly, Buddha himself achieved nirvana after meditating for 49 days to find the answers to the questions such as what is the truth behind suffering. He discovered to be the endless human desires, right? So after he meditated and achieved nirvana under a bodhi tree or a peepal tree, he realized that this is the true path, right? And so it is the attaining of a state where one gives up all desires, so all human worldly desires, and gains freedom from this world and the cycle of rebirth. So Buddha's ultimate goal was to get rid of this cycle of rebirth, because of this cycle of rebirth humans suffer so much. And so if one simply achieves nirvana by giving up all of their worldly desires, they can be truly happy. To know more about this concept of nirvana, click on the link for the iDictionary video. Now let us try to understand the concept of nirvana by this example. Imagine someone locks you up in a dark room for 10 days, then shifts you to another dark room, and then every 10 days this process keeps on continuing. And what do? You simply keep feeling sad and you suffer because you keep thinking how you could be outside during this time and not in this dark and dingy room. You think you could be on the beach or have tea with your friends and enjoy your life, right? However, what if I told you that there was a solution to this? So what was this solution? Well, the only solution is that you give up thinking about this life on the outside and focus more on living inside this room. And so once you're free from thinking about your life on the outside and you focus on thinking how to spend your days inside this locked room, you will no longer wish to go outside, and then you will no longer suffer. And that is the concept of nirvana. Now let us try to understand another teaching by Buddha. Firstly, it is important to understand one thing, that is, this was the time of the Vedic period when a caste system was in place. So what is this caste system? Well, according to this caste system, some people like the Brahmins and Kshatriyas were more important than other people, Vaishyas and Shudras, right? However, because of this, the people who were lower in this caste system, the Vaishyas and especially the Shudras, they were really unhappy because they were constantly tormented by the upper classes or upper castes, right? So what happened next? Well, after this, from Buddha's teaching, which is equality, we come to understand one thing. First, let's take a look at all of these photos. What can you understand from this? Well, firstly, can you tell me who here is more important? Well, we can't figure that out because all of them are here on the same plane, right? So, from this equality, Buddha's teaching, we can understand that in Buddhism there was equality, and so no one was more important than anyone else just based on their profession or their birth, right? And so there was equality, and that really attracted a lot of people belonging to these lower castes, especially Vaishyas and Shudras, who were exploited by these Brahmins and other upper classes. And so a lot of people belonging to these lower castes, especially the Shudras and the Vaishyas, turned out and started following Buddha because of such teachings. Another one of Buddha's important teachings is non-violence or ahimsa. You see, he was against violence because violence brought suffering into people's life. People suffered because of violence, and so Buddha was extremely against it. Now, let us try to understand Buddha's attitude towards God. Firstly, Buddha did not talk about him, but he neither denied the existence of God. So he neither discussed nor denied the existence of God. What did Buddha exactly focus on? He was more focused on, or his main goal was to live without suffering. So his main aim was to achieve nirvana, and so he did not exactly focus on God. Apart from that, According to Buddha, the whole idea or the concept of God was beyond human understanding. And according to Buddha, the universe works according to the principles of Dharma. Other than that, Buddha laid ethical codes to live life righteously. So he was against lying, killing other people, or stealing. So these were really important parts of Buddhism, and he was really against these things because they brought suffering into other people's lives, and hence Buddha was simply against it. Now, remember, this was the Vedic period, and during the later Vedic times, what happened is that the priests started convincing normal people that rituals and sacrifices were an important part of life, and without these, people cannot get closer to God. And so, these complex rituals and sacrifices could only be performed by people who were rich. So, the lower class people felt further away from God. So, what happened because of this? Well, Buddhism emerged, and according to Buddhism, such rituals and sacrifices were meaningless as they cannot change a man's destiny. So, in Buddhism, these rituals and sacrifices did not matter. And so, this really attracted the lower class people who felt further away from God, right? And so, they started following Buddhism. Apart from that, Buddha was against Brahmanism, which treated people unequally. So, as we have already seen during the later Vedic times, there was the caste system where people belonging to the lower castes were treated unfairly, right? And so, we've already found out that these people were also attracted to Buddha's theories and Buddha's teachings. Another one of an important teaching by Buddha is the karma theory. So, what exactly is this karma theory? Well, whatever happens to a person happens because of his or her actions. So, whatever you do today, it will affect your future outcomes. So, if you become a good person right now and do only good things, then only good things will happen to you according to this karma theory. However, if you steal, if you lie, or if you kill another person, then these are really bad, terrible deeds, right? And so, you will face karma, and you will also be treated unfairly. So, this was the karma theory. But let's try to understand this better with few examples. So, what is karma? It is an energy or force that causes one's fate to be determined by one's actions. Look here, look at this man who is suffering because of a tornado. Why did this happen to him? This happened because he was stealing from someone else. Whereas this girl is helping a differently abled boy who cannot walk. So, she is always happy because karma is always good to her. Other than that, this man spent his entire life helping poor people. So, because of karma, he now has a very good life and is very, very happy. Now, one important teaching by Buddha would be the Four Noble Truths. What are these? Let's find it out one by one. The first noble truth is the truth of suffering, according to which when Buddha was outside and he saw the old man with the wrinkled skin, when he saw a diseased man, when he saw a guy riddled with diseases and was suffering, he understood that sorrow and suffering are common to everyone in the world and that every man has to suffer. So this was the first noble truth. Next came the truth of cause of suffering. So he realized that every suffering has a cause. What was this cause? Next came the third noble truth, which was the truth of end of suffering. So Buddha realized that people suffer, right? And why do these people suffer? Well, the chief reason behind suffering is our own endless desires, which are called trishna or thirst. So our desire or thirst for good things in life make us suffer terribly. And because of this, there is now the fourth noble truth. And what is that? Well, the truth of path that ends the suffering. So one can only be free from this trishna or this thirst for desire if he follows the eightfold path. This was a path that was given by Buddha himself, and so many people follow it because this would end suffering and ultimately result in bringing nirvana. So these are the four noble truths that are a really important part of Buddha's teachings. So here at Sarnath, which is in Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh, Buddha preached for the first time After gaining enlightenment, which he did under a bodhi or a peepal tree, about the four noble truths that we just learnt about, along with the eightfold path. Who was he teaching to? Well, he delivered the sermon to 5 disciples who preserved his teachings and spread it across the continent, right? And lastly, this event is called the Dharma Chakra Pravartana, or the turning of the wheel. So what is this exactly? We'll find out soon. In Sarnath, Varanasi, this park is also known as the Deer Park, as deer symbolize peacefulness. So what is this Dharma Chakra Pravartana that we just spoke about? Well, it literally means turning of the wheel of law in motion. Even if you take a closer look at this statue here, you can see that Buddha's hands are in a particular mudra or a shape, right? Here he can be seen rotating the wheel of Dharma. And what does this wheel represent? Well, the wheel of Dharma represents the eightfold path. And in the other sculpture, we can see that there are 5 people here who represent the 5 pupils, and a woman with a child can also be seen. Now, at the age of 80 in 483 BCE, Buddha left the world. You can also take a closer look at this sculpture here, and you can understand that this depicts this event of Buddha reaching parinirvana. Buddha's cycle of rebirth was finally over, as he was free of his karmic weight and he had achieved peace, and this event is famously called parinirvana. Now let's take a look at this picture here. This is actually Ramhar Stupa, which is there in Kushinagar, Gorakhpur in Uttar Pradesh. It is actually believed that Buddha gained parinirvana right here at this place, and so this place actually attracts a lot of tourists and Buddhists. Along with that, Buddha also gave us 5 code of conduct. What were these? Let's see. First was to not lie, because if you lie, other people suffer and you also suffer because of it. And Buddha was strictly against suffering, right? So one should not lie. Other than that, there was not to commit violence, because we have already seen how violence also results in other people's suffering, right? And so Buddha was against this, and this is another code of conduct. Third is not to drink alcohol. Fourth is to be not corrupt, because corruption is another form of lying, and he was really against lying, stealing, and because all of these things resulted ultimately in human suffering, right? And finally was not to possess property. So why was this important? Because according to Buddha, any type of craving or desires would lead us into suffering more, and then if we suffer more, if we desire more, we can not truly achieve nirvana, right? And that was Buddha's ultimate aim at the end of the day. So these were the 5 Buddhist code of conduct. Now, apart from the 5 code of conduct, a follower of Buddhism is also expected to follow certain things. What are these? These are the 3 jewels or the 3 ratnas. So what are these 3 jewels? Well, firstly, the Buddha, or the enlightened one, or the one who knows everything. Secondly, the Dharma or the Dhamma, which was following Buddha's teachings. And lastly, the Sangha, or the community of the enlightened people who are helping you out to reach your nirvana or your enlightenment. So these are the 3 jewels of Buddhism, and a person who keeps these jewels is known as a Buddhist. So with that, we have come to an end to all of Buddha's teachings. We start with the middle path, according to which the extremes are a bad thing and we should follow mediocrity. Apart from that, second teaching is Ashtangika Marga, or the eightfold path. So what are these eightfold path? It is the right action, right view, right effort, right intent, right speech, right mindfulness, right concentration, and right livelihood. So following these eightfold paths, we can reach nirvana, or we can attain nirvana just as Buddha did. According to nirvana, we can be free from the cycle of rebirth if we stop our endless human cravings. And so another important teaching by Buddha was the concept of equality, according to which every person was equal and hence was supposed to be treated equally. Next was non-violence or ahimsa. So this was important because of violence, a lot of suffering used to take place and Buddha was against it, right? And so this concept of non-violence was another important thing in Buddhism. Next was Buddha's attitude towards God. Let's remember that Buddha did not deny God's existence, but he never really spoke about him. According to him, the whole concept of God was beyond human understanding. Next, we have rituals and sacrifices. So, according to Buddhism, such rituals and sacrifices were not important. What was important is how a person leads his or her own life, which should be in a righteous manner. Other than that, we have the concept of karma, according to which if we do good, we receive good. So, we have to face the consequences of our actions, whether be it good or bad. Lastly, we get to the four noble truths, according to which there is human suffering and everyone in this world will suffer. There is a cause for this suffering, and the cause for this suffering is endless human desires. And so how to be rid of these desires is by following the eightfold path and achieving nirvana. So these are all of the important teachings by Buddha that are followed by all the Buddhists in this world, even in this day and age. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free on deltastep.com or download the DeltaStep app and get easy access to more than 5,000 amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million-plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and get a chance to win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So, at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So, register for free now.